Hi, I'm Sunflower Blitz.
This is DJ Mia.
I'm Ira Abba.
I'm Cupcake.
I'm Smooth Sailing.
This is Katiren.
I'm Nell.
MariaTheBean.
I'm Generican, and you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you are watching 21st Pilots Lounge.
21st Pilots Lounge.
21st Pilots Lounge.
21st Pilots Lounge.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this edition of 21st Pilots Lounge. It's your boy, 21st Pilot. Today we have another very special musical guest here. We kind of jumped around the stratosphere a bit with Serena, the MMA fighter. We had Dex, the baking streamer, and Katiren, the artist, as well as DJ Mia, the DJ. Now that was awesome to have all those amazing people on, and all from different backgrounds. So we're not dialing it down. We're coming back to the musical stage with my new friend MariaTheBean. Now Maria is still pretty new. She's got less than 1,000 followers. She's only been streaming for a few months, and we're gonna be talking to her about her musical endeavors and her life as an Uber driver as well as her love for bagels. You're probably wondering why we're outside the bagel store today. Is because Maria loves bagels. So I thought that we would meet her here at the bagel store, wherever this bagel store is, to sit down, have a bagel, and chat about bagels. Why does she love bagels so much? What's her favorite bagel? What does she prefer to put on a bagel? What kind of cream cheese does she like to put on a bagel? Anyway, we'll be talking a lot about bagels. So, before we get to our guest, go ahead and check out this clip from her stream.
Fighting evil by moonlight, winning love by daylight. With her sailors got to help fight. She is the one named Sailor Moon. She's the one named Sailor Moon. She is the one Sailor Moon.
Everybody, please put your hands together for the lovely, the amazing MariaTheBean. Hey Maria, welcome to 21st Pilots Lounge. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. I'm really excited to be here, 21st Pilot. Yeah, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So happy to have you on. I really enjoy your streams, by the way, Maria. The way you interact with everyone and the way you address everyone so formally, it's rather unique. And it's like when I first met you, I noticed that your Psyduck was staring at me through the recommendation screen, and I was like, okay, I gotta tap. Okay, and then here we are. So, thank you, Psyduck and Slowpoke. I see what you're doing there. You got the little marketing guys.
Yeah, they're staring at you. They're like, come to my stream and come hang out with us, And
Exactly.
if you come to like on my actual stream, the camera, this little guy is usually staring right at you guys. So, and the pink light gives him red eyes, so it gives a bit of a menacing, a friendly, menacing aura.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You have a little chicken. Is that a little chick?
Oh yeah,
down there, and then
he's just a little guy. It's like a little budgie. Isn't he cute?
yeah,
It's just absolutely adorable. He's kind of hiding in here with his big buddies, but he's there.
and then is that a shark or a dolphin next to him?
Piotr is a dolphin. I named him after Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky?
As you do. Yeah, the guy who wrote like the Nutcracker Ballet and Sleeping Beauty Ballet.
That's right. I mean, you said that you're a music teacher, right? Or you're studying to become one. So...
Yeah, music teaching is my part-time job. I just finished my composition degree. So I think the goal is to create music for other people to perform, and teaching is kind of like me trying to make an income as I'm trying to like write music at the same time.
Oh, okay, so you're just using teaching to supplement your...
Yeah, kind of as a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like your ultimate dream to teach music. You want to eventually compose and make your own music.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly.
Cool. Because I remember on stream you admitted that you don't really have the energy to be a teacher. Like, is it just like, are you introverted or like what?
Oh
What's
yeah,
the reason there?
I like my social battery is so low, especially when I'm working, because like
Mhm.
you meet like meeting strangers and having I'm a extremely shy and awkward and anxious person. I may not always like seem like it. Sometimes I seem kind of like talkative and outgoing, but like that's definitely on the inside. I'm like screaming. I'm like, why am I talking to people? Um, so my social battery is just so low. I don't,
Mhm.
it's not something long term for me. Like being in charge of people's learnage, you know?
Mhm. I got you. Yeah, no, totally relate. Like that's why I can never teach. Like you have to have patience and a good social battery to keep up with whoever you're speaking to. Even if you're speaking
Yeah,
to another introvert, you have to have a
yeah,
lot of patience with them to interact and not make it awkward and whatnot. And no, social battery too. The older you get, the more it depletes. So definitely
oh, yeah, totally.
utilize it
Absolutely.
the best you can. But hey, whatever you need to do to get you to where you need to be, that's
Yeah,
awesome. So one
totally.
day, what do you want to compose for? Do you want to do like music, movie scores? Do you want to compose for video games? Like, what do you want to do?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I feel like part of it, like it's kind of split in half, right? So on one side of things, I want to do like live performing, like indie pop and sort of a clowny style of pop,
Hmm.
and write, songwrite essentially, which is a type of composition in and of itself. And then there's the other side in which I'm obsessed with orchestral writing
Hmm.
and symphonic writing. And kind of the best place for that kind of writing is like films and video games. So we'll see if I can kind of start exploring that side of the business. But honestly, if I could just like write pieces of music and people would just play them,
Hmm.
that would be cool.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Like, it sounds like you just have this big ambition of writing. So,
Yeah,
because it's awesome that the video game music, they're actually composed by actual orchestral composers like
yeah, absolutely.
Koji Kondo and Nobuo Uematsu.
Oh
They're
yeah,
all,
the big greats.
yeah, they're all real composers. They don't just do video games. So if there was like a franchise or a series that you would want to compose for, is there one that you would love to write a piece for, or do you want to just go completely original?
Huh. That's interesting. That's a good question.
Hmm.
Yeah. Ooh. I feel like I'm a big fan of fantasy
Hmm.
and like sort of wondrous stuff. So if there was like a fairy tale series kind of thing, that would be great to like write music for. And if
Hmm.
I was doing my own like original work or even like for a story, it would be probably fantastical in nature or or like dystopian. Like there's no like cyberpunk dystopian. There's no in between. It's either like fantastical wholesome stuff or like really depressing robot sci-fi.
Interesting. Wow, that you
That's
so
kind of where I'm drawn to.
so you have a diverse taste in like you go from happy go lucky poppy to dark and sci-fi. Were you just into those genre of films or entertainment? Like what inspired you to want to write that diverse plethora of music? Like,
Yeah, I think that's a fair question because um, these are kind of different things. I think when I was a kid growing up, I was really big into fantasy and magic and
mhm,
all the kind of fantastical lore that like kind of humans have come up with in history and stuff. And I was like a big fan of Narnia when it came out and just anything fantasy, I would just eat it right up. And I think that stuck with me. As for like the dystopian side of things, I think as I kind of grew up and life was way more depressing and I found existential satisfaction in like watching dystopian uh situations, and so I'm
hmm,
still very drawn to that. So for me it was always about the bittersweet right? So I mentioned Tchaikovsky before, who wrote the Nutcracker Ballet and the Sleeping Beauty Ballet. And one of the main things that always stuck with me about his music, which I started listening to when I was like 6, because my grandparents would put it on like the radio or whatnot, or whatever device they had then. Um, in this quality of his music is that it's beautiful, but it's sad, and that always kind of stuck with me, like a certain bittersweetness, a certain sadness in beauty. So like those things tend to parallel in what I'm kind of drawn to. Like I'm drawn to depressing things and wondrous things, and also both at the same time.
Okay, so that's an interesting mix. So you kind of try to take what you're relating to in your real life and implement it into your music and to what you want to write for. So that's usually what a real composer does. That's where you draw your inspiration from, right? So
Yeah.
dystopian future. When I hear that, the first thing I hear is Terminator. Like, did you ever grow up watching the Terminator movies? So that's dystopian.
I didn't watch the Terminator movies. I think
Mhm.
my mind always goes back to like Blade Runner,
Okay.
where it's about humanity. And but like Terminator also has some definitely interesting themes about that. So
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I didn't know that you were into those kinds of films. So yeah, that is awesome. I just learned something new today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's fair.
Sweet. So let's kind of touch base on where about your name. So where did the bean come from? Why are you Maria the Bean?
That's fair. I feel like the bean is it was such a random thing at the time. I was like, I want a name that's like kind of cute, and I feel like I connect to it. And the bean was just like, I looked at the words and I was like, that feels right. And so I took it and I was like, Maria the Bean. And I had no idea how personal it would become eventually. And like the bean is not an uncommon nickname for like other people. There's a lot of people online that like take bean and take it as theirs, but it kind of feels like a family. Like whenever I meet somebody who also has bean, I'm like, you are also a bean, we are beans. And now I'm calling kind of everybody in my community beans, like, welcome beans, how are the beans doing, you know? And when you drop into my Discord, you can self-identify as a type of bean as well. So I feel like originally it was kind of random when I chose it, but it just felt right because it was cute and small and kind of like weird, and I liked it. So
So you wanted to use it. It just at first sounded good to you,
yeah,
and then you
pretty much.
eventually evolved it into like a group effort where you would identify your followers or friends or your family on your Twitch as beans.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's got a title for their followers, which is really unique, and I wish more people would do that. Like I don't know if you know who Nelly Nell is.
A
She
little bit, yeah, for sure.
calls everybody captain or
Oh,
fellow
nice.
potatoes.
Oh,
So
yes. That's so cute. I love that.
yeah, it's really I really praise anyone that can keep up with remembering to call everybody that, or and give everyone that title. It kind of gives everyone that warm feeling, that more welcoming. Not to discount
Yeah.
anyone that doesn't do that, but it's a lot more
No, that's
unique.
fair.
Yeah,
It's good to feel like a part of something, I think.
for sure. It's like I'm a Maria Bean, or I'm a potato, or try to say, like, whenever I get a new follower, I say welcome to the squadron or something like that. But in your
Oh, yeah.
case, you're like welcome to the pod, or the chili, the bowl of chili,
I feel
or
like bowl of chili would be good. I always say just bean community for the bean stream, you know,
there's all a bunch
of
of little
beans and
beans
bagels.
talking to each other. There you go.
Yeah.
All sorts of beans, coffee beans, pinto beans, black beans,
Jelly beans.
jelly
There's so many.
beans.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's mean.
Beans are a very diverse fruit, by the way, everyone.
Absolutely.
It's a
Oh,
fruit.
fruit?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Really? I didn't
Bean.
know that. I thought a bean was a bean. I was like, it's a bean. I thought that was its own thing. I didn't know it was a fruit.
You didn't know that song, Beans, Beans, the musical fruit? The more you eat, the more you...
You know, that sounds familiar. I just think I never paid attention to it. I was just like, it's got to be just a bean. A bean's a bean. you know, and like a banana is a berry, but a bean's a bean, you know.
Okay. Well, I guess we both learned something new today. There you
Yeah,
go.
it's good stuff.
Learning our food groups as well as
Very important.
talking about music and movies and genres. Now I noticed, well, as you can see, you can't see right now, but as everybody else can see, we are here in the bagel shop. We're
Oh.
sitting right in front of the counter. We got the menu up there. You got your coffees and teas and your croissants and your danishes and
Oh, that's
baguettes
awesome.
all behind us. It's a glutinous plethora. Now I
That's
have
so
a,
cool.
isn't it? Did you want to
Yeah,
order
I'm trying to
anything?
look around. Yeah, yes, please.
Okay,
I would
cool.
love to order something.
I'll get a panini and whatever you want. So anyway,
Yeah, I'd like to get a bagel.
a bagel. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you about your bagel obsession, Maria. Where did that come from?
Yeah, so that's also kind of random. At some point in my chat, we started. I don't know. We were just talking. We started talking about bagels, and my chat, my viewers. I remember specifically a viewer of mine called the Virtual Target. Great viewer, transforms into a bagel every time I sing my bagel song, physically, and they kind of pushed this narrative of bagels, and everybody was like, yeah, bagels, and I was like, yeah, bagels. So we were all like, oh my gosh, bagels exist and they're great. And
They're
then
great.
and
They
then
do exist,
right,
and they are
and
great.
then the idea came
Mhm.
up that I should make bagels on stream. So I was like, okay, sure, we'll make a donation goal, and let's make some bagels. And we reached it like relatively quickly because the bagel idea was so popular, and we
Oh,
made bagels on stream. And then the next kind of idea for the bagel element was the bagel costume. So again, we made a donation goal. It was a good time. We reached it eventually, and I've got a bagel costume now that I wear on special occasions in my stream.
I think I've seen the bagel costume once. I haven't been following you for very long, so it sounds like I've been missed the bagel baking stream because I remember you baked the pizza,
I did bake a pizza. Yeah, that's for sure.
which looked really good.
It did. It was really good. It was
So
delicious.
really quick again about bagels. So the bagel idea was brought up by a viewer. It was inspired by a viewer.
Yeah, totally.
Did you have a prior obsession with bagels before that, or do you just was this one of those foods that like you were like, oh, it exists, but now it's even more cool now?
Well, now I think after the whole thing, bagels are a lot more significant to me.
Hmm.
Beforehand, I definitely like bagels,
Hmm.
and I'm a big fan of talking about food. So when it came up, I got very excited. I was like, yes, we're gonna talk about bagels. Let's talk about specific types of bagels and what they taste like and all that stuff. So I just got excited because we're talking about food.
Food is a very good agent of serotonin, so it can
Yeah,
get boost the serotonin because food is just a delightful thing to eat. It's a delightful thing to talk about. So,
totally.
do you have a go-to bagel, and what do you put on it? Do you put cream cheese, or what do you prefer?
Yeah. So my favorite bagel is a cinnamon raisin bagel, which is weird because I don't like raisins, and I've talked about this before on my
Hmm.
stream about how I don't like raisins. But regardless, the cinnamon raisin bagel is my favorite,
Hmm.
and I find it the most delicious with peanut butter.
Peanut butter, not any sort of cream cheese.
No, mainly because I'm plant-based. I'm vegan, so I don't.
Oh.
The vegan cream cheeses are not really it for me. They don't really do it.
Hmm.
But peanut butter is still, it goes strong, you know?
Smooth or crunchy peanut butter?
Ooh, the most difficult question you've presented me with tonight.
Really?
Um, yeah, totally. Maybe crunchy. Ooh, sorry, my computer gives me notifications when I get
Oh,
texted, so it goes bing.
it's all
Um,
good.
so you probably heard that just now.
No worries.
So I'll probably go for crunchy. You know what? I'll go for crunchy. Smooth is great, but it's a safe choice. Crunchy peanut butter is where it's at.
Yes, crunchy because you get the peanuts, and I think like a on a bagel, it would taste a lot better, crunchy. You know,
Oh
because you
yeah,
get that texture and
extra texture
yeah,
for sure.
like
It's
to
good
chew
stuff.
on. Because not a lot of people like to chew on things when they eat certain things, but
Oh, that's fair. That's
nice little
fair.
crunchiness in there. That sounds really good. Um,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. Yeah, I could go for an everything bagel with
Oh,
some
everything bagels are great.
cream cheese. I remember when I was working at a retirement community, a lot of the citizens, residents there loved lox and bagels. That's a
Oh,
very popular dish with the, I guess, with that generation. I don't know. Have you
okay,
ever
yeah.
had them?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, well, you're vegan. Like it has salmon, so it's like
Oh,
sliced salmon. But I mean,
yeah,
you
probably
could
not.
have a vegan. So do you have
I
like
could have a
a
vegan version, yeah.
do you have like a favorite vegan food?
A favorite vegan food.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm, that's another tough question. Um, yeah, I think it depends on the food groups. I'm a big fan of like ramen and like sushi. I'm also a huge fan
Mm.
of watermelon and
Mm.
cookies.
Vegan
I love,
cookies.
yeah, and cake.
Mhm.
I have a giant sweet tooth. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I'm obsessed with baked goods, but I don't think you can consider that a meal. Um,
I mean,
so
vegan desserts are really good. Like if you find the right ones, like
yeah,
I
you
don't know
got to
if
find the right ones for sure.
you ever go to like Whole Foods or Sprouts. I don't know if you have those over where you are, but
I
um,
don't I don't think so.
or
Well,
like,
I know what sprouts are, but like
mhm.
not a store called Sprouts,
Oh,
if that's what
okay,
you meant.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, I was introduced to vegan foods like like about a decade ago, and like
Oh yeah.
imitation meats, imitation cheese, like Daiya cheese. That's actually really
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Field roast sausages. They're like vegan breakfast sausages.
Oh yeah.
So many different things you can substitute, and it's amazing. And
Lots of stuff. It's
since
good.
then, like so many things are now vegan that taste a lot like the real thing. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
like you can
great.
enjoy best of both worlds.
You can.
It's
It's
great.
good. And
Hmm.
part of it is the pros and the cons, you know?
Yeah.
Because like you get vegan food that's really nasty, that's like horrible.
Mm,
But when you get the good stuff, it's like you can't have the good without the bad, you know? When you get the good
exactly.
stuff, you're like this is a rare moment in my life,
There's got to be a
you know?
balance, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's touch base back again on your music.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
How old were you when you started singing, and why
Oh,
did
when
you
I
start
started
singing?
singing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. I feel like, yeah, when I was maybe in grade school, like grade
Mm,
4, um, music was easy for me, right?
mhm. Yeah.
At the time. And I didn't really sing, I played the recorder. Um, but I imitated this one singer singing, and somebody was like, hey, that was good. And I was like, nice, I'm going to become a singer. So, like, years later, because like that I was 8 at that point. Years later, when
Mm,
I was 14, I finally begged my parents to get me a vocal teacher. So I did, and that's kind of when I started my formal training. And
mm,
I kept the vocal training till high school. In high school, I did jazz singing, and and then I went off to university where I did classical singing.
mm.
But when I was kind of growing up, originally in those kind of first few years, I also focused on pop and musical theater. So all those genres I kind of kept under my belt and kept working on them. And now after I finished kind of classical training, I went back to pop and musical theater. And yeah,
Hmm.
I guess that's kind of what I enjoy the most.
Wow, so you really stayed consistent with the music. Like you just didn't pick it up and put it down, right? Like you
Yeah.
were constantly like were you ever in a choir? Were you ever in like were you in like musicals? You said
Yeah,
yeah.
when I was, I think the first musical I did was like a junior high musical.
Hmm.
Like we did a musical in our last year of junior high. It was Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I landed the
Really?
role of Charlie.
You were
So
Charlie.
I was Charlie.
Really?
So that was a lot of fun for me.
Oh.
I sang the Golden Ticket and whatever other songs, and that was a great first experience for sure.
Hmm.
And then in high school, I was in choirs all over. So I was in big choir and then a smaller choir and then an even smaller choir called like vocal jazz,
Hmm.
where you did kind of jazz and like little tiny group covers of like pop and stuff. And so in high school, I was in choirs all over the place. Now in university, I did choir for the first couple of years, but then I kind of grew out of it. Like you can always enjoy choir. I stopped enjoying choir, and I started enjoying theater more. And so I did quite a few plays in which there was some singing, and I got to do solos and stuff like that. But it wasn't quite. It doesn't go as far as being musical theater, but a lot of performance there. And there was an opera in university that I was a part of. That was fun. It was The Fairy Queen by Henry Purcell, and that's kind of a Baroque opera. So
Oh wow.
that was interesting. That was fun. So yeah, I think that. And last year I did. I was in a musical that a friend of mine wrote, and she was like, "I'm gonna cast you lead," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." It was like a short project, and it's like funded and with school, so I was kind of it was like a program where a lot of kids did it, and then there's mentors, which are adults that like mentor the kids and like help them out and also play roles. So I was a mentor, and I did play the lead, and I had to memorize like a couple hundred lines in a week, and that was maybe pushing it for me. Uh, but it was a lot of fun. It's great to do original music as well, and recent music. And I'm actually going to be doing the musical again, not the same musical, different musical with the same organization this year as a mentor, because it's a job, right? It pays, and it's
Yes.
like it's fun. It's a fun job. You get to do musical theater, and you get paid. Um, and so yeah, that's kind of as far as like musicals go for me. I did a lot of my repertoire was musical theater, but musicals have been kind of limited in my life. I haven't done really that many. But on the other side, it's like I took a lot of music and I took a lot of theater. I just never really spent that much time putting them together. Not That's not true. No, I put them together all the time. That's not true. Like in actual musical theater productions. That's what I mean.
Gotcha. So, do you want to be heavily involved in like stage productions? Like, do you want to direct musicals? Do you I know you want to compose them, right? But would you ever want to be on stage, composing the orchestra and the choir, whoever? Like, would you love to be up there doing that on stage?
Yeah, it would
Yeah.
kind of be it would be kind of like a Lin-Manuel Miranda situation where I wrote the play and then I wrote like a part for myself and played in the show,
Hmm.
which would be great. Part of my theater focus is actually not theater. Like part of my acting focus is film. So what I would love more, I think, than like being on stage is like doing like a musical film that I wrote and acting in it. That would be fun. That'd be
Oh,
great.
yeah, that would be. So you have a knack for acting. I mean, like uh, Ch- you played as Charlie in Charlie and Chocolate Factory. Like, do you like reading a script? Like, are you good at memorizing lines and all that, uh,
Y-
or
Yeah.
what's your acting skills like?
Yeah, so I started
Mhm.
well, my I started taking acting classes in high school,
Mhm.
and then when I started university, I took acting there, and I
Mhm.
and I never stopped doing theater, even when I transferred from drama to music. So I spent a lot of time, like I spent some time with scripts for sure, but I
Mhm.
spent a lot of time doing something called device theater, which is when you make up the performance and you make a show in like a few weeks and then you perform it and you make it up yourself.
Mhm.
Some of which are text heavy, so you do have to memorize stuff even if you made it up, and some of which are not, right?
Mhm.
So I am good at memorizing scripts. This is one of my strengths.
Mhm.
And acting chops, I have some. I feel like I would not win an Oscar. I don't think so. But like I could still like go out and get more classes, and at this point I feel like I would do really well in comedy if I had the chance in like film acting.
Comedy. I
Yeah.
mean, you definitely have a sense of humor, But as far as depending on what kind of comedy you want to get into, of course,
Oh
adult
yeah, that's fair.
comedy, clean comedy, like just contemporary, if you
Yeah,
want to do that, like what would be your strong point in the comedic aspect?
yeah. I feel like uh, I feel like one of my favorite types of comedies is just playing reactions. So something absurd happens and being the person that reacts. Uh, you know,
Hmm.
so being like really confused or dazed or like, why am I here? Kind of thing is
Hmm.
that being the butt of the joke
Yeah,
would be
that's very Kristen Wiig of you. Like she just like
ah
reacts to everything and just bounces off of that and says something funny or does something funny.
yeah,
But
totally.
like, okay, so you'd be like kind of a maybe not a sidekick, maybe like the Tina Fey to an Amy Poehler. Like you would just
Maybe.
bounce off of someone else, react. Okay, I see what you were getting from.
Yeah, play
So
off being odd,
yeah.
just
Okay. Well, I didn't notice that you had an acting background. Okay, that is
yeah,
super
I feel
cool.
like I forget to
Hmm.
mention that sometimes, but
Hmm.
that's a thing.
So good. So before we get to more about your background here, would you like to sing us a song?
Oh, yes, totally.
Alrighty.
Absolutely.
So for you guys watching, Maria has a Spotify, right? You're on Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, YouTube Music as well. Go and check her out on there. Her links will be in the chat. I'll paste your link tree in there. So what song are you going to be singing for us first?
Okay, so I think first I should sing a song that's going to become my next single,
Hmm.
and it's called Manual Expression. So the version I have here is a pretty early version of it. It's being worked on and produced, and that version is gonna be so good. But I wanna show you guys this song and kind of promote what's gonna be up and coming for my releases.
Awesome. Sweet.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So singing her song Manual Expression. Take it away, Maria.
Expression is just a type of love, at least that's what I've been told. Apparently, I don't love anybody. I'm so easy to fold. I've been stuck in a time loop for years, trying to make the same face. I'm supposed to know how to smile, supposed to understand. My voice is changing, I don't know what truth really is. Manual expressions, I don't know what truth really is. Expression is just a type of love. I don't believe that it's true. Here I thought I could never lie. I think I'm perceived as a fool. After all these years, I've forgotten how to make the same face. And no matter how many times I sing, I still sound the same. My face is changing, I don't know what truth really is. Manual expressions, I don't know what truth really is.
Alrighty. Beautiful. So can you give us a little background on that song?
Yeah, totally. So, manual expression.
Hmm.
Um, this was the first of a kind of a new type of song for me, and like a style that I kind of decided to take and reproduce, right? So, manual expression came from a place of wanting to express authentically and not knowing how to, right?
Hmm.
And at the same time, that sincerity, I wanted to translate it into the song as well. Um, so the song manual expression is about um, kind of missing social cues and growing up and not understanding how to behave in front of other people.
Guilty.
And yeah, exactly. And not understanding what people expect from you. You know, like they expect a
Yeah.
certain behavior and being like, I can't give it to you. And so
Ugh.
sometimes expressing things in a certain way means things in, you know, society. So that's why the first words are expression is just a type of love. Uh, at least that's what
Mhm.
I've been told, right? Because, you know, in daily life, a lot of the times I cannot express emotionally the way that it is expected by society. I become very neutral and I become very disassociated. And so when I can't express, it feels like I'm hurting other people. Like people are like, why aren't you expressing this way? And I'm like,
Mm.
you need to care for me by expressing this way. And I'm like, oh no, that's why the lyrics go, apparently I don't love anybody, right? Because,
Yeah.
you know, I can't express it. And then when you jump to the verse and you go, my voice is changing, it's that kind of goes into I'm starting to understand who I am authentically.
Mhm.
And then manual expression, I don't know what truth really is, right? So then
Mhm.
I have, you know, you have that history of putting on expressions manually, trying to please other people, but not knowing really what they wanted from you in the first place, right? I don't know
Mhm.
what truth really is, and that's why I don't know what truth really is repeats, because like that's kind of the main point of the song as well. And when I wrote that
Mm.
song, everything about it was important. Like um, every like the not just the melody and the lyrics, but the guitar, the piano, the pacing of everything was important equally. And I wanted to make sure that everything had its own time and pace. And that was kind of a new approach to songwriting. So that I've kind of stuck with and tried to like be authentic with. So that's kind of a bit of background on this song.
Oh wow. So that's a super relatable subject.
Oh, nice.
Like not expressing how people want you to convey your feelings. Like, have you ever been in a situation where someone wants you to express empathy or sympathy to them, but you don't know how? Or
Yeah,
um,
comfort.
comfort,
It's a little
right?
tough.
Not knowing what to say or do is sometimes, if especially if you can't relate to the situation, like if they're having a really unique situation that you just cannot relate to or know how to express sympathy, empathy. You know, you can say you're sorry, you feel bad for them, but if they need a hug or like some comforting words, I mean, anyone can give a hug. You know, if you're okay with that, if you're a huggy person. But have you ever been in a situation where, if you don't mind me asking, like you had like a partner and they wanted you to express your love for them in a certain way? Have you ever been in that situation, or were you on the receiving end of that?
Um, yeah, I think there's a few times in which, you know, either a partner or a friend were upset and I wasn't sure how to approach. And it wasn't that I couldn't feel that they were upset. It wasn't that I felt lack of sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is complicated. You like I feel like empathy the choosing the wording of empathy it is very specific to actually having experienced that thing, but sympathy is always possible.
Yeah.
It's the ability to express that in a comforting manner. I never really understood because me and human touch is not a thing. Like I don't like touching people and I don't like being touched.
Really?
So Yeah, generally, only by very few people that I very much trust. Um, so expressing comfort or trying to give comfort would be very, I think, distant and be like a tap on the shoulder to be like, "Are you okay?" I don't, and I couldn't be facially upset even if I was feeling upset on the inside. You know,
Mm-hmm.
any facial expressions had to be manufactured to match what I felt on the inside because I couldn't put it on naturally. You know?
Really? So you feel like you have to put on like a mask in in a sense when you're in that situation to be there
Yeah,
for
pretty
someone.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I can relate to that too. Like, again, when it comes to a situation that you can't relate to, there's only so much you can do for someone at that point. The best thing is to be a ear to lend. You know,
Yeah.
And if you're just on the phone with someone, they don't have to worry about seeing your facial expression. But
Yeah.
still,
There's just the tone,
the tone, articulating your voice. I think.
which can also be hard sometimes.
Exactly. No, I totally get it. I think, would you have to say something to do with like social anxiety, social
I feel like
awkwardness? Would you say?
I feel like social anxiety. Sorry, didn't mean to
no.
not let you finish.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's all I had to say. So.
Oh,
You're
that's
good.
fair.
Yeah.
I feel like social anxiety eventually developed because of not having the ability to express in certain ways.
Right.
You'd get rejected as a kid growing up and by social groups.
Oh yeah. Same.
And getting that rejection because you don't know how to behave around people develops the social anxiety, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes a disorder, and what can you do?
Exactly. I think the only thing you can do is kind of try your best to learn from the input that people give you. Like, I had this friend who pointed out that I'm socially awkward. I had no idea how to identify my behavior around people until I actually started becoming extroverted and trying to be more social and out there. And then I really took that to heart, not in a bad way, but it's like, wow, so this is me. Now I got to figure out ways how to deal with that, how to handle that. What do? I act silly. Like I make a joke. I try to do things to try to ease the social anxiety, in a social situation. I'll dismiss myself if I need to. I'll drink something, to kind of loosen up a bit if I need to.
That's fair.
I don't know if you drink, but yeah, it's there's so many things you can do to help manage yourself in the situation, or you could just not be there. You don't
not be there in general,
or you can just leave early. People do that. If
that's true. Yeah,
too many
and
people
I feel
are,
like
yeah.
Sorry. And like I feel like that tends to happen a lot. Other people want to kind of dictate what we look like to other people and tell us, hey, you should behave this way, and not in any malice way.
Right.
Sometimes it's good advice and you take it and it helps. But at the end of the day, that is masking. So like whether or not that's healthy for you is where the answer lies, right? So for me, when I do that, it's very draining. So I've learned skills, right, to appear in conventional sort of in a way, but I can't keep it up for as long as I'd like to, right?
Yeah.
So that's why manual expression is about having to mask for so long and then putting it down and being like, wait, who am I? And is it okay? Is it okay for me to go out and be awkward? And it's like, it's
Totally.
literally fine. It's literally fine. You go out and you can be a complete weirdo and people will not care. So like,
yeah,
it's fine.
It's okay to be awkward and weird. Just don't be too weird, like don't do anything.
If you start harming other people, that's a line. That's a
different.
line.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. As long as you're not harming physically or emotionally to others,
yeah, exactly.
You just got to own up to it that, hey, I am awkward. I am weird. This is who I am. You got to own it. You really got to own it and not be afraid.
And for the most part.
Yeah.
Exactly. From what I've seen, people accept that. They're like, oh yeah, okay, an awkward, weird person. Let's go. And it's like, oh, I didn't have to like try to hide it for so long,
Yeah.
So I think that's the good news to come out of that a little bit.
For sure. And it is, like you said, it is exhausting to have to constantly try to find alternatives. Like, of course, drinking to hide that is not healthy.
It's
but
not. It does help, but yeah, not healthy.
right, not doing it all the time, but like having to constantly like act silly or try to come up with a joke or a subject to ease it is exhausting. So nowadays I just really just know my limits. You got to really know your limits as well.
Limits are good.
Social,
Absolutely. Totally.
like I used to love hanging out in groups, like big groups at one point. But
Yeah.
prior to that and now, I prefer to only hang out one-on-one because I only have enough energy for one other person. It's nothing against other people.
No, I completely understand that.
Right. Do you have like those extroverted friends that always want to bring other people around, like when you hang out with them? Like
I do.
do
I
you
do,
always have to
and,
tell them
Sometimes I have to be like, not today.
not today? Sorry.
Pretty
Shoot 'em
much, yeah.
down. Oh man, it sucks to have to be that person to convey that. It's kind of daunting, to have to tell them like constantly express your social limits, and it sucks when they don't understand it or don't accept it. Kind of like
Yeah.
going back to them knowing how to accept it, because like maybe they want you to be more outgoing, but you really have to sit down and talk to that friend or partner that, hey, these are my limits. This is what I'll do.
Absolutely.
People,
And,
hopefully, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Pretty much like trying to find people to understand and accept that of you. That is a true friend. That's a true partner to accept your traits, not your flaws or whatever, but your traits. Like
Yeah.
accept that of you, and that's been
Totally.
really hard for people like us to find people that will accept awkwardness and social anxiety and introversion, because there's a lot of people that don't, and they just judge us or they just stop being our friend or whatever. I don't know if anyone's ever abandoned you because of that, but I sure have.
Usually
Yeah.
when it comes to people like
Yeah.
that, I end up not making friends at all because there's too many barriers. But the
Yeah.
good news is that there are people out there that will accept you and be friends, and usually they're gonna be just like us and be like, "Oh yeah, I understand that you have a low social battery."
Yeah.
Like I had a friend come up from the States, who's a very dear friend to me who I did a lot of shows with in university, and we were talking about the social batteries and stuff like that. And she was like, "Yeah, mine's very short. I have to be like this. I have to behave like this." And like we had conversations about that, and in the end, we were kind of the same, and we accepted each other, and it was a great time. And we went to bed early because we wanted to, like separately, right? But like,
Right.
yeah.
I just said like, okay, gotcha. Okay, so you
There's
said
people that'll accept you. There's people out there. So,
yes.
I believe in all of you guys that are waiting to not be judged. There's definitely people.
That's right. My fellow introverts, neurodivergents, there is hope for us. There is a place for us on this planet. There are people that will accept you. Because for the
Yes.
longest time, I thought it was hopeless. Like, I was just
same.
hanging out with the wrong people,
Yeah, honestly. Yeah.
However, we all should take responsibility for our actions, like
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
when I met a certain group of people or individuals, like I was acting a way. I had a mask on. Like I was acting like this extroverted, happy-go-lucky guy with no problems, no mental health issues. And then once I got to know them more and hang out with them more and I opened up more of my true self, which is the latter.
Yeah, totally.
And they're like, "Who is this person? We're not the same person that we met." And I'm like, "Oh crap! All right, are we gonna stay friends still, or are you gonna judge me because I'm not who you thought I was?" Like, but I take responsibility on that. Like, I showed a different side to myself, and they left because they couldn't accept me being emotional and
Yeah, totally.
my true self. And if they can't accept that, if they can't accept both sides of you, they're not a true friend.
Yeah.
It's not meant to happen. So
Yeah.
that's
Sometimes it's meant to be, sometimes it's not.
one.
And tolerance, I feel like what happens when we kind of encounter intolerance is that we ourselves become more tolerant.
Mhm.
So when we find people like us that have a hard time going out, hard time replying, and we're like, oh yeah, same. Like there's higher levels of tolerance for certain things, right?
Yeah.
Ability to take in conversations about mental health or being able to communicate whether or not you can do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Comes down to your limits again. You know,
Yeah.
there's only so much you can take, so much you can give, and knowing
Yeah,
your
exactly.
limits and conveying that
Totally.
clearly. So, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you had a friend from the States, meaning you are not in the United States. So I
No,
see
they
that,
came to Canada.
yes, you're in Canada, and
Yeah.
I remember when you rated Sophia Crombie the other day,
Oh yeah.
that she mentioned that you guys were both born in South America. Is that right?
That's right. Yes.
So where are you originally from before you moved to Canada?
Yeah, so I was born in Colombia, which is a South American country.
Yeah.
And my family left when I was around maybe 4.5. We went to the States. We stayed there for 6 months, and then we went to Quebec for like 5 years. So my formative language years were in French, even though I don't remember how to speak French anymore. You know? And then we moved to Alberta. So, pew, 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 pew. Bunch of different places. And so I'm originally from, like, I was born in Colombia. I did not grow up in Colombia, but there's influences, certain foods, certain smells, certain traditions that come with, yeah, you know?
Okay. So how old were you when you left Colombia? Like, were you really
Maybe
young?
like 4.5 or
Okay.
4 and a few months. So I was I was just starting to remember things even, you know?
Do you know how to speak Colombian?
Yeah, we speak Spanish there.
Or Spanish, right? It's just Espanol.
Yeah, it's Spanish.
Okay.
Um,
Speak Colombian. I'm
and
gonna edit that part.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would consider myself self-fluent, but I feel like I lack conversation so much that I'm like starting to think I'm not fluent. So we'll see. Thankfully, though, I'm getting a few Spanish viewers in my chat getting me to practice. So like that's good. Good stuff.
Don't you have the Spanish tag under your name, like so that way it'll
I
track?
should.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Yeah.
so silly. I just had the English one. I should add Spanish, honestly.
Yeah. There are a lot of Spanish speakers on Twitch, so you'll definitely find a community. Because I mod for a couple of
Oh yeah.
they're from Cuba. I have a couple of Cuban streamers that I mod for,
Cool.
and they got a lot of Spanish speakers and a big
Oh, yeah,
community.
totally.
They're some of the nicest people. So, yeah, that's awesome. So, how are you liking Canada? Do you like it there? Have you ever been back to Colombia since you moved? Have you ever visited? Like,
I've been a couple times. I think I went right before COVID, before the like 2020 like March hit, like in December,
really?
and yeah, we went for Christmas. That was fun. It was a good time. My dad's side of the family is very big, so there's a big party going on. Everybody was up till like 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Not me though. I was only up till 4. Responsible.
Only 4 a.m.
Right after like a 23-hour flight because we kept like jumping around. So
Oh, a lot of connections.
we had that late night adrenaline keeping me going. And then I went back not too long ago, like maybe a year or two, for a short amount of time. And so I think I've been back a total like 3 times. I went back once when I was like 13 as well. So,
Do you ever
but
go,
yeah, sorry.
when you go there, it's okay. Whenever you go there, do you ever wonder like what would it be like if I grew up here? Like, comparison to, I mean, Colombia, it's not as enriched of a country as Canada, but like, do you ever think that like, how do you feel in Canada versus Colombia?
Yeah, I feel like I wonder how different I would be if I had grown up in a different country and in a different language. Like what parts of me would have surfaced, and like would I have become obsessed with fantasy and magic, or would I have become like something else? Would I have chosen music, acting? Like I feel like it would be different.
Yeah.
Would my friends be different? Like would I have had trouble socializing? Probably, but and versus Canada, Canada was interesting because for a long time in my childhood, I moved around a lot, like a lot. And it got harder and harder to make friends the older I got, the older I was a new kid in school,
Yeah.
right? So, but Canada, like, is like where I grew up, and like I do love it. Like I am who I am, I think, because I grew up in Canada and like all these things. So I think I wouldn't take it back if I had the chance, but um yeah. And I think the situations would be different, but I like it in Canada. It's good. It's a good time.
Yeah, Canada's amazing. I have family up there in Ontario,
Nice.
and so it's always a fun time up there. Like I love the food, the weather, just the air quality, and
Yeah,
the
it's great.
people are just different. So, uh, okay, yeah. So I always think about that too. Like what happens? Like my family's from the Philippines, so
Yeah.
I always think about like what would happen if I grew up there because I visited there when I was like 17, 18,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's just a way different world in a
Right?
third
Yeah,
world country,
totally.
yeah, versus North America. Um, being a first generation to immigrants was
Yeah.
definitely cultural difficulty growing up here.
Oh,
um,
yeah,
so
totally.
yeah, but yeah, I could totally relate to that. Like, how different would you be? Would you be more grateful for things? Would you view lifestyles differently? Like, but yeah, like in Canada, like, do you have a favorite Canadian food? Like, do you like poutine? Do you like,
I love
uh,
poutine.
mhm,
Poutine is a blessing to this world.
yeah.
Yeah, poutine's great.
Do
Maple
you have a
syrup is a good time.
favorite kind of poutine?
Favorite kind of poutine?
Hmm.
Well, as long as it's vegan, I'm happy. But like just the original poutine. I think that's my favorite one.
It's like
As
the
long as it's vegan.
fries and vegan cheese,
Yeah, and vegan gravy or
v-
vegetarian gravy at least.
vegetarian gravy. Okay.
Yeah, usually it won't have like milk or anything, so it'll be vegan
Oh,
too.
wow, that's ultimate. Like you won't just settle just for gravy. Like it has to be a specific kind. I had gluten-free gravy for the first time, and it tasted
Oh,
interesting. Um,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah,
it happens.
for my fellow celiac warriors out there, I gotta
Oh,
have
okay.
gluten-free.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, let's touch back on your music here. So,
Yeah.
you have a very distinct singing style. Like, do you have do you have any inspirations growing up? Like, did you ever look up to anybody that inspired your way of singing, or did you just kind of come up with it on your own?
Yeah, I feel like growing up, I was inspired by a few different people, which form more so my early years of singing, which then morphed into something else.
Hmm.
So when I was younger, I was a big fan of Adele and Whitney Houston, people
Mm.
with big voices, right?
Hmm.
But as I was growing up, I became a big fan of like Mitski and some and let's see, the Fauzia is really good, Kate Bush, and I started not. It's not that I still don't. I'm not like I'm still a fan of the great divas, but I'm also a fan of like very kind of specific and minimalistic singers as well that are
Hmm.
very expressive. And so I'm trying to stitch something together that's like purposeful, that sometimes has big moments, sometimes I don't, sometimes I'm minimalistic, and I'm trying to like form a style. I feel like it's forming already, but
Mm.
I feel like it's still an ongoing process.
Gotcha. So people with big voices, yeah, you definitely named a lot of greats there. Kate Bush is an interesting one. Is it because of running up that hill like that
Yeah,
when it was
totally.
very popular?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did know it before Stranger Things, but like,
Yeah, because Meg Myers had a really big cover of it. It was on the radio a
oh,
lot. So
yes.
I remember like hearing that all the time, and then she credited Kate Bush. I thought that was Meg's original song. I had no idea it was a
Oh,
cover.
right. Yeah.
So Okay, so who would you say? When I was going through your song list, you have Amy Winehouse and
I
ABBA,
love Amy Winehouse.
Billie
I was great.
Eilish. Yeah.
Billy's great too.
So how did you learn about all those other older artists? Like, was it your parents that got you into them, or?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I feel like part of growing up was also listening to 80s music,
Hmm.
um, which I ended up loving and sticking with it, and those are very nostalgic for me. I
Hmm.
was a huge fan of ABBA when I was a kid. I still know so many of their songs, and yeah.
Wow. So yeah, the I was surprised to see ABBA on your song list. I think that was the first song I requested. I think it was
Oh,
Fernando, I believe.
oh yeah.
And then going back even further was well, not further back in time, but for me, it was the Sailor Moon music. Is the Sailor Moon theme song.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
ironically, it's the Canadian theme song that was because the original American dub was dubbed in Canada. I think I
Oh,
mentioned that
that's
in your
awesome.
stream a long time ago. like, um, so how did you learn about that version of the theme song? Because mostly people older like me know about the original Deke version of the theme. So how'd you learn about that?
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good question. So I think it comes from it goes back to like my 13, 14-year-old self just getting into anime
Mm-hmm.
and those kind of early years of like YouTube and trying to search for anime on YouTube. So that's kind of when I found the like older Sailor Moon. Like when you remember when anime was still just like full shows were on YouTube for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I found the older version of the theme and like the English dub, and I was like, nice, I like it. And I just kind of went back and learned it because I was like that I like it. It's good.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm really glad it stuck with you because a lot of fans, nowadays don't really acknowledge, even though like the original singer of that theme song on that whole soundtrack, because there was a whole soundtrack to it back. And I sent you a couple of the songs from that CD
Yeah.
to learn. I was really hoping you would have learned a couple of them here for the show, but because some of
Oh,
those are just really
yeah.
deep songs, like really deep meaningful songs, like even up
Totally.
until now.
Yeah.
Like if you ever listen to them, you're probably going to want some tissues because
Oh, totally.
especially if you like watch the episodes. I don't know if you've seen all of the original
I
first
haven't seen
season.
all of them,
Okay.
but I've seen some of them. It's it's those animes that you kind of stop and start and then
Hmm.
come back to at some point. So
Gotcha.
I'm definitely hoping to come back to it and
If
finish it because it's a long show. It's a long show.
it is, the first season is over, like I think it's only like 26 episodes, but it's such
Oh yeah.
the way that the American company edited the whole thing, like really, because like the original show is really like flashy and kind of raunchy, kind of weird, so
Yeah, it's
they made
great.
it a more serious, dramatic show, so
Oh
there's a lot
right.
more meaning. Like, it was just, looking back, it's just so well done. I wish if every anime was like that, like I would be still into anime as much. Like, so now, like, do you have a favorite anime show like at the moment that you're watching, or do you still really watch anime? Or
Yeah, I'm a
Mhm.
I'm a big anime watcher all the time.
Mhm.
But my favorite show just ever is an anime called Princess Tutu. And
Hmm.
if anybody that ever watching this catches the fact that I said Princess Tutu, they would, and if they know of Princess Tutu, they would know that the two posters I've got right here are Tutu and Craigie from Princess Tutu.
Oh.
So Princess Tutu is like a ballet fantasy shoujo, almost magical girl style show that it involves a lot of Tchaikovsky music, which I'm a big fan of. And it's just
Mm.
it's got everything that I like. It's got ballet and my favorite music and just the like mm, most heart-wrenching like little story. It's so cute. I love it.
Oh, cool. I had no
It's
idea.
not a yeah, sorry.
No, you go ahead. Sorry.
Like objectively, I think there are greater shows, more like better, well written. This is a good show. I'm
Mm.
not going to describe Princess Tutu. It's a good show, but there's always shows like Full Metal Alchemist and Attack on Titan that are just like objectively some of the best shows. which are, but this one is my favorite. Hey, you're gonna say no to Full Metal Alchemist? It's a good show. good.
Yeah, I will give a hard no to Full Metal Alchemist, but
Why? Have you seen all of it?
I've seen most of the first season, and
No. If you didn't finish it, you can't discredit it.
here's my story with that show.
Okay, there's a story. Okay.
Like really briefly, like I hung out. I used to go to conventions a lot around the time the show first came out here, and I hung out with Vic Mignogna, the voice of Ed. He was kind of a weird guy, and the fans, all of the Full Metal Alchemist fans, I'm sorry to say this, that at least that were there, were just, I don't know, just because I was older, I didn't understand it. It was all kind of cringe to me. You know,
no, that's fair.
The fans kind of ruined it for me. I love the theme song. Larkin Seal is one of my favorite J-rock bands. Like Ready, Steady, Go. I loved that song, that whole album. And anyway, like I thought that was so cool that they're in a show that's on Adult Swim. I can watch it on TV. But every time I watched Full Metal Alchemist and kind of Naruto is kind of there too, or coming in after Full Metal Alchemist, at least here in America. But like,
totally.
Just the fans, there's just so many. It's like, what is going on? I was like, it was just so cringy to me. So I always think about the fan base that every time I watch these shows, and it ruins it for me. You know,
that is too bad. That is too bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry the fandom ruined it for you, because let me tell you, it's one of the best shows out there for sure. Like,
maybe,
and if you ever, if you ever take a pause and go watch Brotherhood, forget about the fandom and come back. That's the way to go.
I heard Brotherhood was better, so I would probably watch that over the original show.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Brotherhood, top notch.
Isn't it like closer to the manga? Like it's like more in tune with the original source material, I believe.
I'm not entirely sure. I've heard people say that.
Okay. Because that's what they did with Sailor Moon Crystal. It's more in tune with the manga, because the original show was independent. Like at the time, like when they produced, for those of you who don't know, when they produce anime, they have it coincide with the release of the manga. So the entire second season of Sailor Moon was all filler. You know, anime is notorious for filler. So I think like once they complete the series, the manga's over, they go back and then they retell it. So I think that's good when they do that. Not only are they running out of ideas that they have to revisit that, but
the Fruits Basket remake.
I heard about that. I remember the original Fruits Basket from. It's really good, huh? Really? Okay.
I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. I was like, it's Fruits Basket. It's a nice show, you know. I watched the original and I watched the old one, and to get myself ready for the new one, and my jaw drops at how no, it's so good. I could not. I was like,
really?
Watching the original was not worth it. It wasn't worth it. Just go watch the new one. It's so good.
I was into so many great shows. Like I was more into like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Initial D,
I love
GTO.
Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Have you seen the live action Cowboy Bebop on Netflix?
I haven't. I was going to.
Okay.
But then I forgot about it. Is it good?
It's forgetful. I mean, I've yet to see it. I just got Netflix again, but we should like have a movie night in your Discord or something.
Oh, totally. I keep telling everyone we should like watch an anime film, or like a Ghibli film, or like binge watch an anime together. I need to organize something like that. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I could help with that. That's totally cool. I could host or whatever.
Nice.
So yeah, I remember we'll get to your interest in Ghibli in a second, because I love talking about Ghibli. We have a lot of guests on the show that love Ghibli. So as far as like some shows like that have been going for a long time that get new seasons, that get sequels, like for me, I loved Evangelion. Did you ever watch Neon Genesis Evangelion?
Yes, I did.
Have you seen? You haven't seen the newest movies yet, right?
I have not. I've been told to, and I keep forgetting about it. But I need to watch the new movies.
Okay, I will host those for you. Like, you must watch because it's a slow buildup of it. Not only did it take 12 years to make all the movies, which is insane.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Because the first one came out in 2008, And it was basically a rehash of the first arc in the series, like the first 8 episodes.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie is the new twist. And then the second movie is more rehash of the original series and manga with a little bit more of the manga in there. Like Asuka's there, like they kind of change her character a little bit. Her origin is a little different. Her name is even different. It's not Langley Soryu anymore. It's something else.
Oh.
So and like they changed Ray's story a little bit, and the third film is completely new, and the fourth film is a way completely different ending. So
Dang.
not the crazy confusing ending that we got in the series or even in the other movie, the original End of Evangelion that came out. I don't know if you saw
The
that
original
one.
end. Yeah, it was good.
Like where they started the third impact.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna spoil it. We gotta watch it. You gotta make it to that fourth film. It is really interesting.
Dang.
So,
Okay, I look forward to it.
yeah. So that was good. However, there are series that like I used to love Cardcaptor Sakura. This is more like it's fun. Like it's not just for kids. It's like it appeals to everyone. So it's like
Yeah, totally.
it's just a fun show, and it's one of those series where there's a formula that it follows throughout every episode. And when I saw the new series come out, I was so excited for it. I could not wait. And it has been the first time I've been excited about any anime in a long time. Same thing goes for the new series of Fooly Cooly. Did you ever watch Fooly Cooly?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Fooly Cooly, huh?
Yeah, so it's the same. It's by the same people that made Evangelion, Gainax.
Okay.
So it's more like random. It's not like Evangelion, but so it had a formula. Every episode there's a bad guy. They beat it. Same, eat, sleep, repeat. So.
Totally.
So when they made the new series of Fooly Cooly and Cardcaptor Sakura, two of my favorite shows, I'm going through the season and I'm just like, okay, I get the story, but it's the same thing over and over again.
Oh.
So I get bored and I get disinterested. I don't get through the series because it's like, I don't know if you've ever experienced that with any of your shows that you're into. Like, I mean, it sounded like you've seen the original Fruits Basket and then saw the remake. Is that right? And then same with Full Metal Alchemist. You didn't get that same repetitive feeling, did you? Or
so with Full Metal Alchemist and Brotherhood, when I first approached it, I realized that there were two. I'm like, there's two. Okay, weird. I guess I'll start with the original. And I got through the first arc maybe, and I was like, I'm exhausted. This is long and sad. And then my sister was like, just take, you know what? Stop. Go watch Brotherhood. And I was like, okay. And it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Like, it was awesome. So like it was just not, it was like I didn't have a deja vu thing, unlike Fruits Basket, where I watched it. I watched the old one and I watched the new one, and I could see side by side what the difference was. And I was like, yo, the old Fruits Basket missed a lot of very important things, and it was so satisfying to see it in the new show. So yeah, I think to some, I think it's still worth it to watch the old Full Metal Alchemist. I didn't at the time. I was too tired and sad. And Brotherhood just worked for me. Sometimes that just happens. But yeah, whatever you're into.
for sure. So it's good that when they come back, like if you know the source material, it's kind of like I guess they're doing that with the Harry Potter series. Like they're making a new TV series that's gonna go through all the books again, touch up on anything. Because I heard that like they rushed a lot of the later films. So I think that's good for the fan base to kind of see what they missed.
Totally.
So,
I heard they're doing a Percy Jackson series too, which I'm kind of excited about because that was big when I was growing up.
That would be interesting. That's cool that they revisit those to kind of give the fans like something to look forward to, I guess, or lack of running out of ideas.
Yeah.
but like when they try to continue something, like same thing with Dragon Ball Super. I love Dragon Ball Z. When they kept the series going, it's the same thing over and over again. It's like how many times are you going to bring back this character? You already perfected it here. Why are you going to change it up here? Like, why are you doing this?
Fair.
So I don't know. That's another reason why I kind of got out of anime was because
that's fair.
The repetition in a way.
You gotta get into the new animes.
Yeah, when it comes
that are not shonen, I guess.
Shonen, I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually sat down and watched a new anime in a long time. I tried Attack on Titan. That's why I kind of chuckled at it when you mentioned it.
It's good. You need to get past the first season. It'll literally the fourth season will blow your mind. I promise. It's good.
All right, I will give that show a go again, just to
You should.
give it a shot because it's so popular. I never understood it.
It's
but-
popular for a reason. I promise.
Okay.
I was literally like, my mind was like blowing apart as like the last episodes of like season 4 part 1 were going on. I was like, oh my god. Listen, if you watch and you hate it, you can be like, Maria has bad taste in shows, and you just put that aside. But you know,
Okay.
give it a go.
I'll
Give
just
it a
blame
chance.
you.
Okay, yeah, just blame me. Literally.
Oh, same thing goes for whatever I show you. So,
Yeah.
Now Ghibli. What's your favorite
Ghibli.
Ghibli movie?
My favorite, huh?
You can only pick one.
Aw. Man, this is a tough choice. This is harder than the peanut butter question.
Harder than the peanut butter.
Yeah. Man. Can I answer? Am I like capable of picking a favorite?
I believe
Maybe-
you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe but is it? Okay. This is tough. Yeah, I can tell you my favorite and then my close second, right? Because I'm trying to choose between the two. Okay. Okay, I'll have to give first place to Hal's. No.
That's
Yes.
a good choice. There's a lot of
And a
people's
very
number one.
extremely close second is Spirited Away.
Second?
Maybe it's not second. Maybe it's first. I don't know. I can't decide anymore. I take it back. They're both good.
So it's a
Those two are
toss
my
up.
favorite.
So Howls and Spirited Away.
Yeah, I adore them to such an extent. You know?
Hmm.
There's great Ghibli films. Those are probably the closest to my heart. And probably closest to a lot of people's hearts too.
Those are probably the top two. Well, two of the top choices from every Ghibli fan I've asked. Either Spirited Away or Howl's Moving Castle.
It's because they're so freaking good.
Yes.
They're so good.
Another top choice is Kiki's Delivery Service.
Kiki's is great.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
Because for me, that was my first Ghibli film
Aw,
that I watched.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with it. And I've
Oh,
never
totally.
seen a Ghibli. And the cast in there, because Kristen Dunst and the late Phil Hartman was in it.
Yeah.
And so I was like taken by that because hearing famous celebrities of the time in anime was a
Oh yeah,
luxury.
totally.
So
yeah, absolutely.
that kind of meant something to me because watching it I watched it on the Disney Channel, and it was back when Ghibli and Disney had a deal, and
Yeah, totally.
so I guess they wanted to market that to families like that. But anyway, so there's just something about that movie. It was just like overcoming adversity of yourself, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know,
Man, Kiki's is wonderful.
Yeah.
For sure.
that was a great film. It was just so well animated. Like, just the story was just really good. Like, it's a kid on their own making it on their own like that. You know, I've always dreamed of independence when I was younger. So,
Oh, totally. Yeah.
but though not all of us are witches on a broom that have magical powers that can get
Alas.
deliver things, which, by the way, we'll get to your delivery service or job in a second. So why was now I understand Spirited Away is like critically acclaimed for like the story and the characters and just the themes of everything, but what about Howl's Moving Castle that you like so much? Is it the characters? Is it like, what do you think?
It's just, you know, everything about Howl's Moving Castle is so darn good. Like, the characters, the character arcs, the story is immaculate. The animation, the character design, the music. It's like, it's a perfect film. It's one of those perfect films, you know?
Yeah.
And I would put Spirited Away up there too.
Spirited Away. Yeah, I remember that was the first film. That was the first anime I saw in theaters, aside from the first Pokemon movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because we didn't get Ghibli films here until like the late 90s. I
Yeah.
don't know if that was the same thing up in Canada, but and it was cool just to see anime being brought into the mainstream like that. Like again, hiring, casting large name celebrities. Like in Princess Mononoke, you had Minnie Driver, you had Claire Danes and Billy Crudup and all them.
Yeah.
I think Howl's Moving Castle had Christian Bale. He had
Christian
Batman
Bale,
as
absolutely.
as Howl. Yeah.
Iconic. Absolutely iconic.
Yeah, and I didn't recognize his voice at first. I was like, "Oh, okay, that sounds familiar." I looked at the cast. I'm like, "Okay," and then Billy Crystal was Calcifer. I was like, very
yeah,
taken
absolutely.
away by that. Yeah, Mike Wazowski is now a fire flower, as like a thing of fire that cooks really good-looking bacon.
And he does a darn good job at it too.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
good. Calcifer's great.
they definitely know how to cast. So it's cool. I guess it helps with marketing, but it's like they really care about portraying these characters in a good way. It's not that not saying that like lower grade actors are any worse or anything, but it's like,
The Ghibli films had a high budget for
They did.
the English animations for sure.
Have you ever seen any of, like, I think they had the Ghibli Fest in movie
Ghibli
theaters
Fest.
where they showed all the Ghibli films in theaters, and then there was an exclusive screening of the live action Spirited Away, like
Oh,
the stage version.
I feel like I heard of it. I
Mm-hmm.
saw like a trailer for it, and then I forgot about it. Me forgetting things is a common theme. Honestly, I have a terrible memory.
No worries.
But yeah, I feel like I saw a trailer for it, and it looked really cool.
Yeah, I heard it was really good.
Ah.
I think they have it usually every other year in theaters. Like, I think Fathom Events puts it on, and you get like tickets for
Oh,
it
nice.
to your local theater. I thought about going, but again, missed out. Totally forgot about it too. So
Yeah.
so before we get more into it, would you like to sing us another song?
Yeah, totally.
Alrighty. So which one would you like to sing for us today? Again.
Yeah, I would like to sing for you guys The Muse, which is one of my released songs.
Mhm. That you can
yeah.
find on your Spotify. And
You can find it on my Spotify if you like.
Sweet. Alrighty. So The Muse. Take it away, Maria.
I stand again at that critical time with a pencil in my hand. It's moments like these that have saved me at times when my shadow's in my head. But I can move my hand each time it's frozen and locked in space. And time is gone and left my side. It left me behind in place. It left me inside my head. But I hear the muse inside. It calls me instead of that, which leaves me forever locked. I'll panic outside, but I can't panic inside. The muse that holds me tight. A warm embrace that feels like a lie. Perhaps I love the muse. I hold my head and hear the sounds that come from my head. I dread the feeling of a dream when I'm supposed to be awake. No, I can't tell what's real no more, and I'm frozen inside that place. I keep the lights inside me on. What price do I give this race? That this poor judge is running place. But I hear the music inside. It calls me instead of that, which leaves me forever locked. I'll wake up sometime, I'm always awake inside. The muse and holds me tight. A warm embrace place that feels like life. Perhaps I love the muse.
Woo!
Yay.
Alrighty. The Muse. What's the background with that one there?
Yeah. So the Muse. Interestingly enough, I wrote this song when I was exceedingly mentally ill. Like I was losing my mind. Um, actually, though, and this was before I got a bipolar diagnosis.
Oh.
So I was experiencing the symptoms, but I had no idea what I was experiencing or what it was because you know, they don't really teach about this stuff anywhere in school or in any of this stuff. So I was portraying symptoms of paranoia, of brief psychotic episodes, and I had no idea. Followed by depression, ups and downs. And when I wrote the song, it was like a memoir, like of that specific moment in time where I was specifically unwell. And the only thing that got me out of like a depressive episode was writing music, right? So the muse is the abstract concept of writing music. It's my desire to write music. What the muse means to me in that song, the definition of the muse is the desire to write music, because it's the only thing that at this point I feel is going to save my life, right?
Wow.
So yeah. So if you listen carefully to the lyrics, I'm portraying a bunch of symptoms of my disorder and disorders like that before knowing what it was. So that's kind of what you get. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So music saves lives in many ways. So you feel like
absolutely.
it's your outlet right
Yeah,
now
exactly.
to express your feelings. That's amazing. I always say it's like Haley Williams. Like she portrays her feelings in the best ways, in the coolest ways, and that's with the music, and that's what you're doing. So that's so cool that you have identified an issue, the bipolar disorder, which nobody wants to hear about that,
Yeah.
and but the fact that it sounds like you are handling it properly, as far as being able to channel it creatively in a way. You're not turning to substances like a lot of people do, or musicians that do write about it but then use their riches to supplement that. I think that you transforming it into something creative for other people to relate to and share is one of the most beautiful things. That's what I love about musicians, is that you're giving the people something to hold on to relate to. Because this will be kind of another goal. I'll ask you about your goals later. That's usually the last question I ask. But
Oh, nice. Yeah.
really quick. So concerts. Well, first of all, beautiful performance there of the
Thank
Muse.
you.
I love it. I was listening to it on Spotify the other day. So
Oh, thank you.
yeah, no problem. I was driving and I was listening to this. Like, this is a really deep song. It's awesome. So
Oh, that's awesome.
forgot to
I love
tell you
that.
No problem. So concerts. Do you go to a lot of shows? Are you a concert person at all?
Right. So, sort of and not yet kind of thing. So, during university, I went to a lot of performances, student concerts, right? And I started going a little bit more on my own after university, trying to catch shows, trying to catch bands. A friend of mine who I met in university, which I'm not sure if you've met or you might meet in the future, is Julie Go Live, and she's a
Oh.
streamer on Twitch.
Yeah.
And she's a friend of mine, so whenever she has shows, not all that I can't make it to every show, but like I try to go out and see her shows, and there's usually other bands there as well, so I get to catch them as well. And I want to go out more, and I want to catch more music, and I'd love to meet people and musicians and network and kind of see if I can put myself out there too and get concerts of my own going, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So yeah, there are a lot of. It's funny you mentioned. There's a lot of Canadian music streamers on here. I don't. Well, you're all spread out and about, but like, that'd be cool to get a bunch of you guys together and just do
Yeah.
like a showcase show. But you've never done your own concerts live yet. Like you never performed like a solo set or
Yeah, I have not. I'm
really.
still working on it. I attribute some of that to my social anxiety. But I'm about to invest in some equipment that'll help me
Mhm.
perform live music more adequately, right? Because
Mhm.
I have, I do not accompany myself with a guitar or piano. I use tracks.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna buy some equipment to help me sing with tracks live in public. And that way I can actually write to venues being like, I have my own equipment, I can perform and I can gather an audience. And that's something that I'm going to start to do in my area and try to get as out there as much as I can. And I'm hoping to do some busking as well, which
Oh,
could be fun for the summer
busking like playing guitar or like with tracks or
with tracks
with
and
tracks.
singing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome. That'll be cool to see you perform on stage or on the street. Just that'll be super cool. Like a lot of people don't use tracks when they busk, which
I know. Yeah.
either way, it's still humble beginnings.
Humble beginnings for sure.
Yeah, the social anxiety thing I could totally understand. I can't imagine like getting up on stage by yourself. In front of people, like in front of 5 people or 5,000. So,
Yeah.
although I honestly think that you will overcome that eventually once you start doing it more. You gotta start somewhere, especially
Yeah, for
if you
sure.
haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
Like there are Twitch musicians that do perform live,
Yeah.
and I guess they just have a natural ability. But for those that don't, like I have another friend that's been on the show who is super talented musician, also from Canada, and she just doesn't. It's just kind of like just doesn't feel ready to get in front of people. So,
That's
but
fair.
would you feel ready like at this point?
Absolutely. I would jump at the opportunity. I would.
Awesome.
I would jump.
Hmm.
And I think the biggest thing stopping me is not so much the fear of going on stage,
Mhm.
is the fear of talking to people to let me go on stage. You know? It's
Oh,
emailing people and being like, "Hi, please hire me."
oh, like the
That's the
booking,
scary part.
getting booked. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have like an agent or like a friend that would be like your manager of some sort, like that?
I don't. I wish
Oh,
I
okay.
I would have to
Mhm.
do some social moves to get some
Mhm.
sort of manager. I'd have to talk to someone and ask them to be
Gotcha.
my manager.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So, yeah.
So, because you've been on stage before, you've done musicals and stuff. You're the lead in a role, so you being up on stage is not a problem. But okay, yeah, I get it. Like trying to
It's
get
the
booked.
talking, this the conversations with people.
Yeah. Like, why should
Yeah.
we book you? How much you gonna bring in? Are you gonna, like, you know what I mean? Like those questions, those intimidating questions.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally
Why your
understand.
music? Why should we listen to you?
Well, let me show you why.
Yeah.
Deep, meaningful. All the market. You gotta really self-market yourself. Gotta
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Gotta learn how to do that.
exactly.
Yeah.
um,
So,
have
yeah.
you have you been to any big concerts? Have you seen any
All
big
right.
artists? Because Canada's full of them. So
That's true.
yeah.
I feel like I have not really had the chance to. Not really,
Hmm.
honestly. Well, one time I was at the Stampede and on the the Stampede that happens in Alberta, and there was like a grand stage show and there was Alicia Cara performing. I was like,
Hmm.
"Oh yeah. She's a big artist. There she is. Look at that." I stood there and I listened. But I wasn't like me buying tickets to a concert and going.
Oh really?
I've yet to do that.
Oh okay. Cool. Yeah. So up in Calgary, like I don't know, do you guys get a lot of big shows up there, or, I mean, Calgary, Alberta is pretty big city, right? Like.
It's
Mhm.
pretty big. It's
Mhm.
smaller than like Toronto or Vancouver, but it's
Mhm.
it's a city.
Yeah.
It's you know, I honestly I don't know. I don't know enough about concerts. Like I don't go out and look them up. I
Oh,
know when
really?
Cirque du Soleil is coming.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, it's coming in August,
oh,
and
it's
I'm
cool.
going. I love the
Oh,
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du
Uh,
Soleil.
my kind of concerts, No,
Yeah.
but yeah, I really,
Very
I'd love
theatrical.
to kind of
Yeah.
go out more to like local bands, and
Mhm.
if an artist that I love is coming, like if I heard that like Melanie Martinez was coming to
Mm.
like Alberta, I'd be like, let's go. Here are my tickets. But you know,
Melanie Martinez. So like you like the pop artists. Like are there any rock bands that you like Sum 41, Simple Plan, like any of those well
I think it's
Canadian
mostly like pop, indie pop artists
pop
that
and
I
indie pop?
tend to like. You know.
What about the greats like Alanis Morissette?
Oh right, yeah.
Were you ever into her?
I've heard of some of her songs, but I don't think I've quite developed the
Oh, okay.
you know.
I help
But
change that.
I need to hear more. I need to hear more of her because I'm sure she's amazing. It's just that
Hmm.
I don't think I was maybe exposed to as much music of hers growing
Okay.
up. Or
Got it. Yeah, she's definitely one of the legendary Canadian artists
oh, totally.
of
Yeah.
our generation, and she's one of the first things I think about when I hear Canadian music.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely share some with you in your Discord. So
Oh please.
yeah,
Yes, please.
that'll be awesome. I think I suggested like a song that I'll send those in. So
Okay.
when it comes to learning a song that somebody wants you to learn, I don't know if you've ever done a live learn on stream before. Have you?
A live learn? I have
Hmm.
not.
Okay.
No.
So when it comes to like learning a song off stream, like do you have to like do you like look at the lyrics, listen to the melody, like listen to the song over and over again to get it stuck in your head? Like what's your method there like with learning a new song?
I mean, if there's sheet music, it helps. If there isn't, I'll just listen and learn.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's kind of how it goes.
Okay. Got it. So it's no like special. I mean, you're easy to catch on. Like you said, you're able to remember scripts easily. So same
Yeah,
thing with lyrics.
pretty much. Yeah.
Awesome.
Though nowadays with my set list being so big, and I scramble the words in my head for like all the songs, so I need to
Hmm.
have the lyrics on me
Yeah.
because what else can I do? But as long as I know the melody, it's fine.
Yeah, there's nothing. That's one of the best luxuries of streaming is that you can have a cheat sheet every time. You can't really do that on.
You can. No, you can't.
Yeah, and on stage, like I've seen a small handful of artists do that. Like they have like an iPad like with their lyrics on it, but you could tell. I mean, you could tell that they're looking at something and it's not the same.
Well, for the like biggest artists
Yeah,
in the like stage,
yeah,
they have they have to have the lyrics on them just to minimize the possibility of them messing up.
right. I know Ozzy Osbourne is really notorious for that. He has a teleprompter
Oh
that
yeah,
goes as he's singing. I remember this
that's fair.
interview. In this interview, he's like, "Oh, I can't remember all the bloody lyrics, and I need to, you know, I was on fucking ecstasy for, you know." It's like, it's like, that's true. I can understand why he needs it, but you know, it's just funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Anyway, okay, so going back to your delivery service here, Maria's delivery service.
Yeah.
What is life like being an Uber Eats driver?
You know what? It's not so bad. Most people like cuz I mean, okay. There's bad stuff about it, like the pay is kind of crap, but like otherwise it's pretty good. Uh
Really?
cuz like yeah, it's some days you can get to like minimum wage, some days not so much. So that's
Mhm.
kind of tough, but like you can still make cash. But then you have to kind of pay for the gas that you spent, right? So like
Mhm.
you become aware of how much gas you're spending at all times. Even when you're like driving to a friend's, you're like, oh my gosh, I just spent 6 more kilometers, or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, but the really nice part of it is getting to choose my own hours, because
Mhm.
with my kind of mental health and few disorders that I have, I just cannot be on it 24/7. I cannot have a consistent job. It doesn't work for me. Um,
Mm.
especially as I'm kind of like healing and recovering from burnouts and stuff like that from university.
Yeah.
I need support. I need time off. Like I'm legally allowed to do that. You know, I say legally, I do mean it. Um, so choosing my own hours when I'm well, and when if I'm, if I'm having a depressive episode, I cannot move, I cannot go drive. But if I'm doing well, I can be consistent for a while and save up some cash for the times when I'm not well. So that's really good. And then also at the beginning of the interview, we mentioned that my social battery is pretty low. It's pretty low. But most people want you to leave their food on their doorstep, so you don't even get to talk to people. And most restaurant people are really nice, and it's not very draining. It's really most of the time I'm driving, and I like driving. I love driving. And in Alberta, you get these huge skies, so it feels like I'm going out on like mental health drives every single day, and it like replenishes my spirit or whatever. And I just listen to like the Princess Tutu soundtrack as I'm like going. I'm like, yay! So that part's really good, honestly.
Really? So there's a therapeutic side for you. You can set your
Yeah.
own hours, work at your own pace, work it whenever you want to, whenever you can,
Yeah,
and with very minimal communication, like with people.
pretty much.
So, like when you go to the restaurant to pick up the food, like you say this for for so and so, that's really all you do. It's like you're here to pick up food,
Yeah.
take it,
And
go.
the people at the restaurants are super nice. They're just like, "Yep, here's your order. Have a nice day." I'm like, "Good, nice. Goodbye."
Do you have any like funny stories or weird instances that happened at any of your deliveries at all?
That's a good question. I'm still fairly new to the deliveries, so nothing crazy so far. But I did get to find out where the Amazon building is in like the Calgary-ish area, like outside of Calgary, I think. I was just like driving, and I was like, "Where am I going? Amazon? What? The Amazon? I've never seen the Amazon building. Let's go!" I drive up to this like enormous building, and I'm like, "Amazon." And I delivered there, and I was like, "Have some food. I'm delivering to Amazon. That's so strange. It's like an Uno reverse card, for Amazon delivering." So
Oh, so you were
yeah, yeah.
delivering to someone that works there, like?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like Uber Eats. Like, don't you guys also, or can't you also like deliver packages, or is it
Oh,
only food?
only food.
Only food. Okay.
Yeah.
I think like some services, like
So,
I think DoorDash can get like packages and
oh,
non-food
totally.
items and
Yeah,
groceries, even like Instacart. I don't know if you guys have
yeah.
that out
Ooh,
there.
actually, I can do groceries too, but that's
Yeah.
kind of food, so I put it aside. But no, I
hmm
guess that's also objects as well.
hmm
Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, delivering to the Amazon building.
Wow. So is there like a restaurant that's very popular? Like, do you deliver a lot of Tim Hortons or Pizza or any of those Canadian staples?
Yeah, I feel
Like,
like it's a little bit less about the brand and more about the food type.
hmm
I feel like I get a lot of pizza. A lot of
hmm
people want pizza, and then in kind of the areas where I work, the like second and third places are like shawarma and Indian food. Those are like the main
really?
types. Yeah,
Oh, ooh,
pizza, shawarma, Indian food.
ooh, I love Indian food. So Mediterranean, Indian, and Italian.
Yeah,
No love for
good
the
good
poutine.
choices. I wish. I don't think there's like. Well, maybe I don't know. I have like if I get a poutine delivery, it'll be a rare one, but
Oh.
well, I don't know. It should be popular. I don't know why people are not ordering poutine.
So, a majority of your deliveries like leave at the door, or did you
Majority,
have to
yeah.
like give? Oh, okay.
Sometimes I
Sometimes.
have to give to people.
So no, I think hopefully nobody asks you to like come into the house or like meet you somewhere that's different other than the residence. You're only going to go to that address and that's it. Like you're not going elsewhere.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just be very careful with that, please. Like
yeah. I
heard
will.
stories.
I'll
And,
try my best.
yeah, like don't let anyone say, "Hey, I'm down in the basement. Come and
Come
drop."
inside the basement
Yeah.
so that I can lock you in.
Yeah, there was one of
Um,
those nightmares videos where a guy talks about that story. Like he went down there and he almost got locked and killed. It's like, why would you go down there? Why? No.
nah, nah,
Yeah.
absolutely not.
hmm Yeah, just be
No.
very careful with that, you know.
Yeah, I'll try my best.
Yeah.
I'll try my best.
So that's cool that you see the therapeutic side to a job. Like you really got to find the positives of any
Yeah.
job you're doing. You got to love your job, whatever it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
So
for
that's
sure.
cool. It's thinking about it. It's like I thought about like I was jobless for a while at one point. I thought about doing like
Totally.
ride sharing and delivery work because I've worked in the food industry a couple of times, you know. It's
Totally.
pretty hectic.
It's got to
but
work for you, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
if it's like tolerable, but like not just tolerable, like you can like it a little bit,
Hmm.
it works. Because, like, you know, sustaining yourself in the economy is freaking, it's tough, right? So it's,
Yeah.
and not all jobs are awesome. But if it
Mhm.
works for you, you know, that can help you for a while. Because,
Yeah.
like, I don't want
Mhm.
my end goal career to be an Uber Eats driver, but
Right.
I can stand doing that as work more than I can stand doing a lot of other types of work.
Yep.
So that works for me for now as I'm trying to kind of grow my artistry and other stuff like that.
What other jobs have you had, like other than delivery driver and teacher?
Yeah, so let's see. One time when I was like a teenager, I made my own
Mhm.
company, my own food company.
Mhm.
There's a Colombian food called arepas,
Hmm.
which is like this round corn thing that you like eat instead of bread. So I was like making those.
Hmm.
But I, you know, overworked myself and underpaid myself. So I fired myself in the end,
You
right?
fired yourself. What? How do you do that? How do you have a conversation with yourself in the mirror and then just like you're how did that go?
Well, you know, metaphorically, I fired myself technically, but I stood up one day. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm underpaying myself. And I was like, yeah, yes, I am. So I stopped. Um, and
Oh
then
wow.
at one point, I was pouring smoothie samples out at a smoothie like pop up to like for people to drink.
Hmm.
And I was also making smoothies.
Hmm.
I was a smoothie girl.
Hmm.
And then what else have I worked on? There's another place where I did a sample. I do background work in film. That's probably
Oh,
the funnest work. That's probably my favorite work to do. It's fun. You get to go and stand and watch people act, and you're just like, I'm a person in the background. Um,
really?
yeah, it's fun. It's a fun job in my opinion.
Like, what do you do if you don't mind me asking? Like in the
Yeah.
yeah.
It depends on the film or the TV show, but a lot of the times there's like crowds, like you know, your main characters whatever are somewhere, and maybe it's a town. So they're
Hmm.
like, we need people to walk through this town, or maybe there's a rodeo. We need people to sit on the risers. We need people to pretend like they're drinking,
Hmm.
stuff like that generally, and especially because it's Alberta, it's a lot of western. So it's like, please
Hmm.
bring your cowboy hats and your cowboy boots and pretend you're in a rodeo. A lot of the time it's that.
Really? So do you act as like a casting director type person, or like do you interact with the extras and like
I
tell
am
them?
the extras. I am
Oh,
an extra.
wait. So you're an extra in films?
Yes.
Really? Any big notable films you've been an extra in?
I hope I'm allowed to say, because like sometimes they're like, don't say anything about the show.
Oh,
Um,
NDA.
kind of.
Okay.
But let's see. There's like a show. I don't know if it's out. Maybe I shouldn't say it. But there was like a Hallmark TV show series
Okay.
that I was like background of.
Really?
There was Joe Pickett. I don't know if you've heard of Joe Pickett.
It
Joe
sounds
Pickett season 2. I played
sounds familiar.
an evil vegan, which is hilarious to me. It's absolutely hilarious. Um,
Really?
yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to like talk about it, but it is the funniest thing that happened that happened to me as a background thing.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome.
yeah,
Wow.
if it when it's out and I can talk about it, I can say why it's so silly that I was like there was like a group of evil vegans. It's so funny.
Okay, I'll
Anyways,
just edit that part out. That's fine.
no, don't edit it out. It's funny. I
Okay.
think it's fine. I didn't go into specifics.
Okay.
Besides, I'm sure season 2 will be out soon.
Hmm.
Yeah, there was another movie I think called The Walter Boys. I don't know.
The Walter Boys?
Yeah,
Sounds.
it's probably not out yet, so maybe.
Okay.
But
Wow.
yeah.
So do you
Oh.
ever just go to like a casting call, like to audition, or do you just sign up to become an extra, or?
Yeah, so for that I do have an agent.
Oh. Okay.
And sometimes they send me auditions for commercials. Those are tough to get into, though. I've gotten like one callback for a commercial and I didn't get cast. Like it's very rare to get cast in like big projects, big paying commercials and TV shows. And with the unions, because there's a union, if you manage to get into the union, you'll get prioritized. But you need to work 15 days in a year to join the union.
Yeah.
So that has not happened for me yet. So if I join a union, I may get more opportunities to work background. If not, I'll just stick to where I am. But it's fun. It's fun. And sometimes it's fun to audition for things. It's like acting practice, right? You never know.
Wow. So do you want to pursue a career in acting? Like, is that one of your callings? Like, do you want to be one of those actor, writer, songwriter, like Justin Timberlake status? Like he acts and writes music. And is that what you want to do? Or?
I think music is still on the bigger end of the stake. I feel like acting is a little bit on the side because I love acting. I adore it. I don't think, like I said before, I don't think I could win an Oscar. I think at best I could like get a role at a sitcom when I'm like, hey, buddy, welcome in or whatever, and like not have any like dramatic range, which I could, but
you'll get there. You just never know. I mean, Brendan Fraser waited 30 years to get an Academy Award.
No,
so.
you know what? That's completely true. Yeah, that's fair.
Know.
So I feel like it's partly an aspiration, and a friend of mine is making an indie film, which I'm gonna be in. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna star in it. I'm in the lead role. It's my first lead role in a film. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome. That's cool. You're an actress, you're a singer, you're a composer, you're a delivery girl. What can't Maria do? I mean, you bake. You know how to bake really well. You have a knack in pastry. Is like, do you ever want to be like a pastry chef or like get into that field at all? Or
I think the closest I ever came to that. Oh well, obviously my food business, but like the closest aspiration I would have to that is like being a food critic. Because I love like tasting food and being like, this is slightly underbaked or whatever.
Not like Gordon Ramsay, right?
No, maybe a more wholesome version, or maybe not, because critics, you need to be honest, and preferably anonymous. So you never know. Maybe I am a food critic.
Oh,
no, I'm not. But like I've definitely written reviews about food that are not published.
Really?
Yes.
So you like to write. You have like a knack for journalism, like to write your own articles.
I feel like I don't have a knack for it, but I have an interest in describing food.
Interesting. Wow. Being able to articulate things with words, there's something about it. Like, feels fulfilling in a way. It's like, I believe that this poutine tastes just as good as a slice of pineapple pizza on a hot summer day.
Metaphors are good. Yeah, and I've read about like what do you write about when you're a food critic? And some people are like, you need to also write about the place. What are the people like? Or what does it smell like? What is the music like? And then when you describe the food, you have to go into very deep detail if you're describing a routine. What were the fries like? What was the texture? Were they crunchy? Were they soft? Were they overbaked? Were they underbaked? How was the gravy? Was it too heavy? Was it salty? Was it sweet?
Yeah.
How was the cheese?
You gotta
Things
really
like that.
delve into every ingredient, all the way down to the seasoning.
And then mixing it. Like, what does it feel when you mix these ingredients? Is it satisfying at the end? Do you feel heavy? Do you feel greasy? What's going on?
Yeah.
bunch of stuff.
Wow, that's very in depth. I don't think a lot of journalists or food critics delve into it like that. Like if you're like on a TV show like Iron Chef or the great or the great what are those like cooking, competition shows. I think that'll be a lot of fun to do. But,
Yeah, it would. It actually
yeah.
would. Yeah.
Like I would like to be like on one of those competition shows because I love to cook. So
Yeah, totally.
like I took culinary arts for a couple years.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I learned a lot, like how to cut properly, how to do certain cuts, and like how to work at the front of the house and the back of the house.
Nice.
From making the main entree to, taking out the trash. I learned it all.
Totally.
So,
Hey, that's awesome.
yeah. And it was great. Food industry just, unfortunately though, it was, burnout. It was just too fast
Totally.
paced, and
Yeah.
it's not something I would want to do as a career. It would be something
Yeah,
I
totally.
could do
Yeah.
like, like what you do, like on stream or like as a hobby, like for fun,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But that'd be cool if like I was your contestant and I had to submit a dish to you, and I would
Yeah.
really like to know what you think of it. I think that would be
Yeah.
super cool.
I would love to criticize it. And
Yeah, please.
not criticize it, but like critique it.
Critique. Yeah, give
That's
your
the
input.
word. That's what I'm
Yeah.
looking for.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, totally.
All this talk is making me hungry. So,
Oh, same.
would you like to sing us one last song?
Oh, right. I already sang the muse for you guys, right?
Mhm.
What else do I have? Yeah.
How
Yeah,
about-
totally.
Sinking Ash?
Sinking. Oh, yeah. Sinking Ash. Good old Sinking
Alright.
Ash. Absolutely. That's my
Cool.
first released song. So,
Your first song, released single?
first release single.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So taking it back to the beginning, we have Sinking Ash. Take it away, Maria.
I've been dropping my head underwater, submerged in the things that help me live. I can't breathe, so what must I give? Without it, how can I live? But I would need to rip it out of my chest, replace my heart with a stone. Is it right if I'm swimming with death? I'm surrounded by unreachable breath. I'm drowning in the dead. I said I would name myself. I've been happy to give myself up in exchange for a shot at love. I'm dying in the space where I thought I could save myself. I can't read the promise that I used to see, ripped up morality. I don't want to leave the gentle water of the sea, sinking air. given all up. I can't say that I've given much. I'm drowning in the thoughts that I thought I could put away. I don't know if I'm doing what's right, but I know I can't sleep at night. I'm dying in a place where I thought I could save myself. I can't reach the promise that I used to see, ripped up morality. I don't want to leave the gentle water of the sea, sinking
Alrighty. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yay!
Wow. So that was Sinking Ash.
Mhm.
What's up with that one? What's the background?
Depression. It's
Simple
not
enough.
so super long and like winded. I was like depression.
Yeah.
Yep,
Depression.
that's what it is.
Something a lot of us experience. A lot of us are afraid to admit. Some people look down on it. Some people don't understand it. But it is a thing.
It's a thing. Yeah, and it needs to be addressed for sure. So
Yeah. So you really took your experience with depression and wrote it in to that lovely song there.
yeah, absolutely.
I think that depression or seasonal depression, things like that, can really inspire someone to write something super creatively. It's like that's why I love 21 Pilots so much, is because Tyler just takes all of that and turns it into this melodic masterpiece. Every song. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
totally.
have you listened to much of them.
No, I haven't. Not
That's-
yet.
That's another thing that's gonna have to change, Maria.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming by. And one last question.
Okay.
What are your goals on Twitch as a singer, as a songwriter, as a actress, and everything? What are your goals?
Yeah, totally. So my goals as a Twitch streamer is to kind of keep going, keep growing my community, and keep sharing my music, kind of sharing my original works on stream and trying to grow my audience and find people that like my music and want to listen to it. As a singer, my most recent goal and songwriter is my upcoming EP, which I'm working on, and it's gonna be called "The Fool," which I'm very excited about. And yeah, the first song is already in production, so I'm very excited for that. As a composer, we'll see. I think I'm gonna keep writing and see if I can write more and reach out and see if I can find projects to work in, like game jams and stuff like that. That could be fun. As a performer, I want to, of course, sing on Twitch. That's a big place where I perform, but I also want to sing live and perform live, as busking, and also by kind of contacting venues and having live concerts, maybe getting a manager. That's a good goal. And as an actor, hope I do a good job in my film that I'm working on, and hopefully I get to do more of those projects in the future. So I think those are a few of my goals. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm wishing you all the best of luck in all your endeavors.
Thank
I really
you.
hope I look forward to your album. I look forward to seeing you in a film or on a TV show. I'll be on
Totally.
the lookout for that. And yes, thank you again so much for coming on to the 21st Pilots Lounge. Hope to have you back on again soon sometime. If you're
Yeah,
down
thanks
for
for
that.
having me. This has
Yeah.
been super fun. This has
Yeah.
been great.
For sure. And what days can we catch you on Twitch?
Right. I'm usually on Twitch on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Yeah,
Mondays,
that's usually
Tuesdays, Fridays.
that's usually it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, if you want to check her out, please check out her links that we posted in the chat. Give her a follow. She is amazing. Everybody, please give it up. Here's some claps in the chat for Maria. Alrighty.